Hi, and welcome to Misty and Me with Freedom. My name is Martin, and this is Misty, my 4-year-old Labrador. Misty and Me moved aboard Freedom in March 2020, and together we began a new chapter in our lives. Misty is more than my dog, she's my best friend, companion, and security officer. Ahead of us we know we have many new adventures, and would like to invite you to join us. Simply subscribe and follow to watch as our boat life unfolds. We do hope you enjoy the following vlog and continue to watch. Thank you. Hi and welcome aboard Freedom. My name's Martin, and today we're going to do a very easy to make, very handy recipe bread. It's actually Turkish bread, and I came across this by accident when I was doing a little bit of research. And it just appealed to me because I thought, as you most likely already know, I like to mess and mix and play with recipes. And I think you could do several things with this. If you was going to make yourself a stew, a casserole whilst you're out cruising on a winter's day, this would be fantastic if you just cooked it plain in place of a crusty roll, because if you're out in the middle of nowhere, it's easy to make. Or if you put the addition of a little bit of crushed garlic and some melted butter and brush these when they're finished with that, they'd be ideal if you was having a homemade curry in place of a naan bread. So let me just show you how easy it is, and hopefully we'll give it a try. Let's get some cooking. Okay, so nice and easy, 500 gram, maybe a little bit more, of plain flour, into which I've added a liberal pinch of salt. It does make all that difference to put a little bit of salt in. Now, I have put together here, there's 150 mils of warm water, and there's 2 tablespoons of dried yeast. Now, when you buy the packet yeast from the supermarket, I think this came from an Aldi, but obviously they all do it, such as this, in the packet there's individual foil wrapped sachets, and I've checked that, and this is actually a tablespoon in each. So you would simply buy a box, I think it was 70p, nice and cheap to keep in the cupboard. You're bound to have plain flour, you're bound to have some salt. So you'd put 2 sachets into 150 mils of warm water. Now, I have actually put a very small, maybe 3/4 of a teaspoon of sugar, just to get that yeast really excited. It gets it really frothy. So what we're going to do, we've put the salt in, we're going to mix that in, and then we're going to put this 150 mils of yeast in. It's much easier to make this than it is to make a standard loaf, that's for sure. Get every little bit in. We're going to use that jug again, so I'm not going to wash it. It's got another use in a moment, because we're going to put some milk into this. So now all we need to do is add into this 150 mils of warm milk, and I'll put this in now to show you. In here we have 3 tablespoons of a good quality olive oil, so that can go in. And again, it's a sort of product you're going to have in your cupboard, so it's not going to be a major issue making this on the canal side. I'm just going to get the milk and then we'll stir it all in. Right, we now have 150 mils of warm milk. I've just put this in the microwave just to take the chill off of it. I'm not going to put it all in because, again, when you're baking you can always add it, but you can't take it out. So we're just going to, before I start putting our hands in this, just give it a gentle mix in. it'll absorb all that liquid. Once you're confident, you know, you haven't got too much liquid in there, and just add the rest. I just think this is a great idea to have in your make it in a hurry recipe book when you're out and cruising, and it's just another fast bread when you can't get to the shop to get what you need. Okay, so as with all bread, now let's just give it a good bit of a knead, get all this dry ingredient used up. You don't have to knead Turkish bread like you do a standard loaf. All we're trying to do is just absorb all the dry ingredients off the side of the bowl into that mix until it becomes nice and pliable. I don't think you could actually over knead it, to be fair, but as I say, it's not one of these breads that needs lots of aggravating. And just so you know, I've never made this before, so if it doesn't turn out, then I've got it wrong. I'm doing it from memory, so as you can see now, it's starting to become a nice pliable ball of dough. And really, it's as simple as this. You know, it's not rocket science. Just keep turning the ball so that you're moving the dough in a different direction. We're not trying to need lots of air into it because, again, it's not a standard bread dough, so we don't cook it in the oven, we cook it on top, so it can be slightly less needed. There you go. Okay, so that's got all the dough mixed together. Now the easy bit is we just give it a sprinkle of olive oil to make it nice and stretch and pliable. And then we're going to leave it for an hour covered with cling film until it doubles in size. How easy is that? So let's put this to one side and see how it goes. Right, time for a cup of tea. Welcome back. 1 hour later, and as you can see, quite an improvement. So now just to a little bit of flour down. All we need to do, cut into 6. This is a really soft kind of a dough. Feels lovely. I hope it tastes as good as it looks. Now, all you need to do, don't need to go crazy with the flour, just a sprinkle. And obviously you can cut this down into smaller quantities if there's only, say, 2 of you on the boat. and you don't want to make an over amount, because I'd imagine these are going to be quite filling. And we're just going to roll them out using my micro sized rolling pin. I keep telling myself I'm going to get a bigger one, but I'm not going around to it yet. And then these are going to go into a hot plate, for roughly 5 minutes, 5 to 6 minutes, that's including both sides. So let's get some heat under the pan and let's see what happens. Now I'm just using a very thick based pan. Getting it nice and hot. Feel the heat coming through now. Don't want it boiling hot, as in scalding. You need to be able to feel some heat coming through. Alright, good to go. So we're going to give it about 2 minutes per side to start cooking through. And hopefully what will happen is it'll eventually start to puff up as the heat gets into the dough. Now traditionally this is served with a melted butter and chopped parsley and dried chili flakes. Now I'm not going to do that. Tonight I'm just going to do brush butter on, because I haven't got a curry and I'm just going to try them as they are. As you can see, it's starting now, the yeast is reacting and it's starting to bubble up. Bearing in mind I've never done this before either, I think it's just getting the right amount of heat in the pan. So what we don't want to do is burn. Yes, it's going right. But we do want to get some colour, but it also needs time for it to cook. So if you get your pan too hot, you're literally just going to burn the outer side of the dough, and then the inside is going to be just partially cooked. So 5 to 6 minutes is the general cooking time. And these have been in now just a couple of minutes. I'm quite interested to see how good they taste, as I'm sure you are. As you can see, it's very similar to a naan bread. Doesn't take a lot of producing. Starting to get some colour into it. And hopefully it'll taste as nice as it looks. And you could see this, as I say, dipped as a plain dough as I've done today, with just plain butter on it. I mean, you don't have to put the butter on it, but if you're having a casserole or a stew, this would be great for tearing and dunking in your casserole. And if you have decided to put a garlic butter on it, I think it would be lovely with a curry, or even with something like a spaghetti bolognese as a bit of a side dish. You know, there's so many options. You could put, if you wanted to, you could actually infuse the olive oil by warming it in the microwave with some garlic in there, and then obviously allowing it to cool and sieve out the garlic, so you've got a nice garlic oil. Or you can even buy it like that, I suppose. So choices, always I've got a choice. And there we go, now it's starting to look a bit of smoke. I've took the smoke alarm off the boat for a moment, just in case. And that, I think, is enough for me. So what we're going to do is There's a liberal amount of butter. So it's got a nice coating on there. And a moment of truth. It smells gorgeous. And it tastes absolutely lovely. I do think chances are with the garlic butter and the chilli would make it a little bit more flavoursome, but I'm not complaining. I think this is quite an easy to make, very tasty, very cheap bread that you can use with several dishes. So I'm going to eat this whilst you go home, get in the cupboard, find the ingredients and make your own. Cheers.